Hey guys, Tom Davidson, Landon Hutchison back with Yard Work Season 2. We've got Kentucky Baseball Club here, one of the programs that we've known for quite some time. Jordan Tarrence, head coach of the 18U KBC Prime. Is that right?
That is correct. Yep.
We're going to cover your 2020 season with us, maybe how things were a little bit different because of COVID, and then take a look at your guys' run for that 18U National Championship that you guys participated in. Kind of give us a little rundown about KBC first, and then maybe this team that you guys have, because I know you had like 40 guys on that squad when you came to Indianapolis.
Yeah, almost. No, I've been with Kentucky Baseball Club for 10 years. It started in 2006. The last 8 years I've coached with Craig Snip, and I know you guys know Craig. He's the director of operations for KBC. Great program. I coached the 18s for 8 years in a row, and one of our big events is always that 18U National Championship, and we've had some success lately in it. But this year was definitely different, and everything about 2020 was different. But coaching an 18-year-old team with seniors, I was excited that those guys, they missed their senior year of high school baseball. So it was a really special summer for those guys getting a chance to play one last time that, they hadn't played in 6 months, and they were bummed out they didn't get to play their senior season. So it was good for those guys to get to play this summer.
Yeah, I know that was the toughest part for us when we were kind of navigating through all this because everything was so last minute. I mean, a lot of times we have that schedule out 3-4 months in advance. And this year it was, 8 to 12 days in advance just because we didn't know who was coming. We didn't know what fields we had. Eventually we got set up with Victory Field, the AAA stadium here. I know you guys had one of your pool play games run through there. I know you went 3-0 in pool play. And then ran through a whole bunch of teams in bracket play. But Lane and I were just joking. I was like, man, you got to play 4 games at Victory Field. I need to text Snip and tell him that he needs to send some more money to cover those Victory Field games.
Yeah, that was something I was going to mention. It was awesome getting to play there. The kids loved getting it was nicest field that most of those kids have ever played on, and some of them it'll be the nicest field they ever do play on. But.
Yeah, that park's amazing, and we did a lot at those AAA stadiums. Even when we were in Louisville, we used the Louisville bats. And when we were, although in Louisville, we sent guys all the way to Bowling Green to play at the Hot Rods too. So it was definitely a little bit different. We've got a lot of those minor league stadiums, which helped us immensely, complete the events, but it also gave us the ability to still have, premier venues and replace those college fields that we lost. Kind of give me a rundown of this team that you guys had. Landon and I were joking before you came on of how many guys you guys had on the roster, at least for that Sunday, and playing 4 games in a day.
Yeah, we had 14 guys that went to Indy, but 2 of those, I got 2 of them, all they did was pitch. So Connor Lewis, he's a guy that went to Wichita State. He came in, he threw a complete game, one of the pool play games, then he left. And then Bryce Travis going to EKU, he came in, threw a game and left. So when we showed up on Sunday, we showed up Sunday morning with 11 guys, and 2 of them were pitchers. So that's what we had on Sunday.
Yeah, ended up being a good run though too, and had a long rain delay too. Probably one of the craziest things I think anyone had ever seen. I don't know if anyone's ever seen 8 inches of rain be on a field and then it be completely dry 10 minutes later after it stopped.
Yeah, it was a long day, but that was 2 years in a row we've got to do that. Last year in 2019 we made the championship game of the national championship, and talking about having a short roster, we had 1 kid catch the entire weekend in Indy last year. Shout out to Charlie Corum. He caught 8 games in Indy. So by the championship game, he was about dead. But.
Now, was Snip with you guys when you're in Indy?
Yes, he was.
I know he's usually like the weak link when you come to like the coaching staff piece. Usually just texting me to figure out when he can go play golf and things like that. So
that was, you talking about COVID change in 2020. We didn't get to play as much golf this year. That was really one of the, disappointing parts about 2020. We didn't play a single round in Indy this year.
I know, I got to get you guys out. That was really the only thing I was allowed to do for a while, was to go play a little bit of golf. And we had the opportunity to start this yard work show as COVID hit, because there was nothing for us to do. We couldn't confirm fields. We couldn't, confirm teams. It was just, everything was such a toss up that, we had no direction. until, really June. And then Kentucky was shut down for an extra month. Illinois was the same way. It was like everybody had to go to Ohio or Indiana in mid-June. I know you guys went to the Hanover event, went 3-0 there, and then we had a bunch of weather issues over there. And then same thing in Cincinnati. You guys went to the Xavier event, ran through pool play 3-0, and then we had more weather issues over there. And it was just because of their lack of facilities. We had every facility booked up, all the turf. There were new turf fields that came out of the woodwork that we've never used before that we had the opportunity to use this year. How was the overall record? Because with us, I mean, you guys were like 10, 11-0.
Yeah, we had 1 week. I think we lost 5 games this summer, maybe 6, but so 20-5, 20-6, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but they had a good summer. I mean, we had a bunch of guys that could hit, and it was funny because when the summer started, we had a team where on paper we were like, man, we're going to score 15, 20 runs a game. It's the best offense we've ever had. But you don't realize how rusty the guys were. Normally they're coming out of high school ball. We showed up that first weekend and we would win 2-1, 1-0. And luckily we had good pitching that first weekend because we really struggled offensively the first weekend. And it was just, the guys hadn't seen live pitching in a long time. And even as good as they were and as talented as our guys were at hitting, we had a bunch of D1 hitters that it took them a couple of weeks to get back in the groove of seeing live pitching and having good at bats. And the weekend before the national championship, we kind of started hitting well. And then in the national championship, a couple of those games we just won because we absolutely, every guy 1 through 9 was hitting.
I know that last weekend in July when you went to Cincinnati, I looked that thing up and it was like 36 runs scored, 0 allowed in pool play. So yeah. Might have clicked there a little bit later.
It did. The last 2.5 weekends that they were D1 hitters that were hitting like D1 hitters. It was fun to watch. Easy to coach.
Yeah, no kidding. Snip can't mess that up.
Coach, I remember back, this would have been right when I first started working with Pastime. You were in an EKU event and we were about ready to do the coin toss. And you said, no matter what, I want visitors. So is that like your philosophy? You just want to score first, or what's that all about?
So, yeah, that's happened before, and we've played against teams that, had the opposite mindset, but trying to get everybody at bats. If you only play 3.5 or 4.5 innings, our guys don't get to hit as much. So
that's right.
That extra, make sure they get to hit every inning.
Tournament play, you should always be the visitor because you get to maximize your opportunity for, runs scored and differential and all that kind of stuff. I think the only other guy that I've ever talked to about that is Jay Lear when, he ran the Indy Aces or, the Indiana Mustangs and up here. And he was like, why wouldn't you be visitor? I mean, it's the only time you get a bat your entire time and have the opportunity to maximize everything. And it was like, it doesn't make sense to be home.
Yeah, I agree. There were several times this summer we didn't flip because the other team would just say, you guys can be visitors. We're like, okay, we'll take it.
Yeah, sounds good. So give us a rundown on that roster for nationals that you guys had on the Prime this year and where those guys are at now.
Yeah, definitely. We had two catchers. We had Drew Baker and Cam Brady. Drew's at Wright State now, and Cam Brady went to UT Martin. And then William Hunley, who actually played on my high school team at Henry Clay, he played first base. He's at Midway. And then Josh Halterman played first base, pitched, played a little bit of outfield. I mean, he was the guy that was probably the MVP of the entire tournament in Indy that weekend. I think he threw 10 scoreless innings and hit over 500. He was just one of those guys that you couldn't – every time he got up, if it was a big situation, he was going to get a hit. He's at Evansville, and right now he's just hitting, but I think eventually he'll end up being a two-way guy at Evansville. I think they got a steal in him. He's a really smart, great GPA, high ACT score kid. And then Sam Tackett, also from Lafayette, him and Josh Halterman both went to Lafayette High School. He's at Virginia Tech, and he had a great fall at Virginia Tech. I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he hit the farthest ball in the fall at Virginia Tech on their TrackMan. He hit a ball in one of their scrimmages, and it was the farthest ball of the fall, so that was pretty cool. I think he hit 3 home runs in Indy in the national championship run we had. Who else? Cam Smith went to he's at South Alabama right now. He was a middle infielder. Connor Jackson played shortstop every game, and he's going to Center College. And I think he'll be defensively, he's one of the best defensive shortstops we've had. And so he's going to center and he'll be a great player at center. Peyton Henry went to a junior college, but actually recently announced that he's going to go to Army. And so that was pretty cool. We've got, Peyton's going to finish his college career at Army. We had a Dawson Cole played center field going to Campbellsville. He was our country boy on the team. He was from Taylor County. Who else? Braxton Earlywine pitched and played outfield. He's at Kentucky State. And then, like I mentioned, Connor Lewis, Wichita State. Britton Robinson, one of the glue guys. He was one of those kids that he'd play second, short, third. He'd play wherever you needed him to. Always coming and pitched in the game when we were beating teams by a lot. He's at East Tennessee State. And, he really made a name for himself when he played for Clary's 17-year-old team last year. Yeah. But this was my first time getting to coach him. It's like, you love getting to coach kids like him, man. Scrappy, hard-nosed. He just played the game right. He hit leadoff for us, and it's like, hit a couple of leadoff bombs. He just always found a way to get on base. I miss anybody? I think that's it. There weren't very many. That was about it. When we had some more guys on the team earlier in the summer, but by the time we got to Indy, that was who was left. So.
Yeah. I know it's, that national championship. I know you guys ran into Razorback baseball in the finals, and they carry, I always make fun of Jeremy, but they carry like a 35-man big league roster over there. When you look down and you've got plenty of room on the bench at Victory Field, and they've got guys spread out in the stands because they got too many guys. It's, that's difficult to do, but I mean, you guys ran there the whole way, and it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's funny because in 2019, we did the same thing. We took our group of 10 guys, and we made it to the championship game. And in the championship game, we ran into Midland. And so that's 2 years in a row between Midland and the Razorbacks. We looked over and we had about 25 guys on the other team. I think the guy that Coach Johnson threw against us in the championship game was about 93, 96, and it was his first time pitching that weekend. They could bring a guy in throwing 95 to pitch in the championship game, and we were throwing – everybody we threw had already pitched at least once.
Yeah. And the Midland and Razorback guys, they've traded national championship rings with us the past, I don't know what it is now, like 4 or 5 years. They keep going back and forth. So it's good to have you guys in the mix and some of those top teams from the region playing in that event. I think we'll get there again this summer. I think that event's up to like 40 or 45 teams already. So I think we'll get back to that 64 to 80 team mark again and be able to run that. Hopefully we get a chance. We already talked to the Indians. Hopefully we get a chance to use that facility again for that event. I think it was cool for them to host it. We used to do that, I don't know, it's been like 8 or 10 years ago we would host there, but it was only the championship game. But I think this past summer opened the door for them to be able to see that their field can take that kind of wear and tear and allow us to play on there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was as nice of a field as it was. It was cool for the kids to get to see, like, this is what it takes to maintain this field, between games, all the work that they would do to, take care of the field and groom it after the games. You could tell it was a big league setup.
Yeah.
Coach, tell us a little bit real quick just about KBC in general, and also too a little bit about your coaching philosophy and what it takes to play for KBC and yourself.
Well, we have, starting at age 13, we have 2 teams from 13 to 17, and then we have one 18-year-old team. In the 10 years I've been here, me and Coach Schnitt were doing the math the other day. There's been 18 guys drafted in the 10 years that I've been there, and I've coached 12 of them. So I've coached 12 guys in my 10 years that have gotten drafted. And I think there's several guys that are playing college baseball right now that will get drafted that played for us in the past. We pride ourselves in being a Kentucky baseball club. When you go to these national tournaments, there's been times where when you look at Midland, a couple years ago, we played Midland and they had 9 starters from 8 different states, and we've always taken pride in, we're Kentucky, and we do get some kids like Southern Indiana that live across the river. We had a really good player from West Virginia last year that lived right across the river in West Virginia, but we're not flying guys in from Texas or California. We do a good job of staying local, and we try to get the best talent. And I will say in the city of Lexington, there's a lot of great baseball in Lexington. So there are several good organizations in Lexington. I don't want to say we're the best organization or we have the most talent, because I think there's a lot of talent in Lexington and there's a lot of guys that do a good job. But we do have a good reputation. When people ask me what's the difference, I think I think one of the differences is when a tournament roster gets posted, I think college coaches, if they see a bracket or they see a schedule and they see Kentucky Baseball Club, if it's one of our older teams or one of our prime teams, they know if I go watch this team, I'm going to see some very talented players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been clear and evident over the years as far as, the number of events you guys have won with us and other organizations. So I think it's the same way. There are multiple tournament groups that are worth attending and participating in, and you guys typically do well in all those. So appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we get to bring you guys back with a different color ring after 2021, and we'll be able to do this all over again.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I do think, for KBC, there's been a lot of consistency in coaching, in my 10 years. And as long as you've been doing this, there are several guys that that you see them at every event that have been coaching the entire time you've been involved in pastime. And I think that makes a difference. I think we have a pretty consistent coaching staff through the different age groups and guys that want to be involved and stick around. I think that helps. But we're not bringing in new coaches every single year.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't agree more. I know next time we'll get Snip on here. Make sure we give him a little bit of love too. I know he's one of my favorite people in all of travel baseball. But
I called him yesterday. We did some show prep. I didn't want to say any incorrect facts. I didn't want to call him the wrong, insult him by having him the wrong position. So
there you go. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we'll get to do it again after the summer, and I hope everybody stays safe.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for all you all do for baseball.
All right, thanks. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.